Tonight, BC slowly gets back on its feet. Another highway reopens and a major pipeline about to restart. Vancouver violence.
Especially since the pandemic, it's really escalated.
The scare he got while walking his dog and the message left outside his home. Plus, unwelcome queen.
All I'm looking for are the answers.
Why a rusty old ferry is making waves with the neighbors.
You're watching Global BC. This is Global News at 11.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Samantha is in hospital tonight after a vehicle was sprayed with bullets in Coquitlam late this afternoon. There are more than 24 evidence markers around the white Toyota RAV4 parked on Chickadee Place just off Pine Tree Way in the Westwood Plateau neighborhood. The shooting happened just before 5 in what is normally a very quiet area. A spokesperson with BC Emergency Health Services says the male victim was taken to hospital, his current condition not known. Coquitlam RCMP have not said if anyone is in custody. 2 more pieces of critical infrastructure in our province are reopening. Highway 99 reopened to essential travel between Pemberton and Lillooet today. This section of highway had been closed since Wednesday evening following a substantial slide. Checkpoints are in place along the route and travel restrictions will be enforced. Regular passenger vehicles are allowed through, but commercial vehicles are not. 5 people were killed when a mudslide came down along the same route back in mid-November. More than 2 weeks after it was shut down, as a precaution, the Trans Mountain Pipeline is set to reopen tomorrow. The valves have been turned off since November 16th, when heavy rain caused slides and washouts along its route. The pipeline is the major conduit for fuel and oil from Alberta to the West Coast. Trans Mountain says there is no indication of leaks or serious damage to the pipeline. With water levels dropping, more and more people are starting to return to their flood-damaged homes in the Fraser Valley this weekend. As Amada Gahi reports, for some, it's not just material items that have been lost, but also precious memories.
I have to go through all this other stuff and see if any of it's salvageable.
It started with a call from her parents saying there was a foot of water in the basement of her childhood home.
A lot of it's already been thrown out.
But just in a matter of hours, it had nearly tripled.
Right here at the highest.
Freezer's still humming away.
The water you see here sat for almost 2 weeks. So just imagine the cleanup.
It's pretty stressful. You can see it on the owners' faces. But down, you can imagine being a bit down and your whole house has been flooded.
All of it made a little easier, at least, with some help from complete strangers. Roads that were closed just a day before are back open Saturday. People coming home to see the landscape looking more familiar.
We know that for many of the residents, returning to their homes and farms will not be easy. Some, including homes, may not be inhabitable.
The city of Abbotsford's Return to Home plan has lifted the evacuation orders from a section of the Sumas Prairie. It is labeled as North. It's seen here in blue. The Penners kept close eye on their home through the worst of the floods and now are one of many families returning to see the damage up close.
My dad's upstairs, but he's dealing with some of the other people looking at other damage that had happened. And Mom was on her way here.
There is a lot of work to do, but one thing they know already, the biggest loss is not the water heater, the freezer, or their motorcycles.
I had a lot of stuff from like when they were kids, my mom and dad did, so a lot of like sentimental items, which they had to get rid of.
And sadly, they know they're not alone. Amada Gahi, Global News.
BC's Public Safety Minister got a first-hand look at the flooding devastation in the small town of Princeton during a tour on Friday. And our Kristen Robinson has more on that.
The irreparable damage laid out in the streets. Princeton residents are clearing out the contents of life as they once knew it. On Friday, BC's Public Safety Minister on the ground in one of the hardest hit areas in the town of 3,100.
It means we're being heard and we're not being ignored, and that's so important.
Mayor Spencer Coyne giving Mike Farnworth a tour of the worst of the water's wrath, including a Canadian Forces flight over the Tulameen Valley devastation.
We were able to show them what we'd done, show them what we're dealing with, and show them how we're going to come out of this.
Flood ravaged since mid-November, Princeton caught a break during the most recent storm when the river that flows through town didn't rise high enough to breach dikes.
We're still in repair mode, but we're going to start moving into recovery here, hopefully this week.
The province has approved over $2.1 million in emergency response funds for Princeton, which the mayor says will help pay for Tulameen River dike repairs and replacing water lines under the river. 2 of 5 lines are fixed, and the town has enough water pressure for fire protection.
I think by the end of it, municipal losses are going to be over the 10 million mark.
Coyne hopes they'll be able to lift some evacuation orders soon so people can return home and start rebuilding their lives. Kristen Robinson, Global News.
A quick reminder about BC Together in support of BC flood relief. Visit globalnews.ca/BC Together to check out the groups stepping up to help and donate to an organization of your choice. The weather on the south coast is back in the news this weekend, not for rain, but for snow. This was the scene on Sumas Mountain in Abbotsford this morning. The valley had about 3 centimeters of snow overnight. Westwood Plateau in Coquitlam, twice that. A special weather statement has been issued for Metro Vancouver, Vancouver Island, the Sunshine Coast, and Howe Sound for tomorrow night. Up to 10 centimeters of snow is expected by Monday morning. Shocking new evidence tonight of just how dangerous it can be for average citizens living in or near Vancouver's downtown east side. Our Paul Johnson introduces us to a man who not only had a knife pulled on him while walking his dog this week, but discovered a threatening sticker outside his home.
Broad daylight, walking my dog in a popular park.
Much is said and written about how to improve the lives of those living in Vancouver's downtown east side. Chris Karalik is one of them. He can tell you all about the feeling of increased vandalism, theft, and petty crime. But it was the man who threatened him with a knife Monday for no reason that really rattled him.
When I felt it was safe to do so, I got to the other side of the park and I dealt with it. I called the police.
That man was arrested, but Karalik and others like him are left with a sense that, particularly since the pandemic, things have worsened in Canada's toughest neighborhood, and they feel abandoned by city leaders.
I'd love to see a greater police presence. I'd like to see, boots on the ground, so to speak.
So while we're hearing from downtown East Side residents who are saying the crime problems down here are becoming unbearable and they want more police presence, there are also groups who are saying the opposite, that the solution here isn't more police, but less. The Pivot Legal Society, which advocates on behalf of those in the downtown East Side, is promoting a campaign to defund the Vancouver Police Department. They say the VPD denies the existence of structural racism and regularly infringes on the rights and dignity of drug users. So is it more police, less police, or something else? Vancouver Mayor candidate John Cooper offers this take.
The first thing is we need to get people into treatment, but we also need to have a larger police presence downtown.
This is a stranger assault, another stranger assault that has occurred in a very public place during broad daylight.
Vancouver police told us Saturday they too were getting more reports of people feeling unsafe. And alarmingly, the number of stranger attacks is averaging more than 4 a day, most in the northern part of the city that includes the downtown east side. Back with Karalik, it turns out his week of indignity didn't end with the knife threat. A couple of days later, someone had put this sticker outside his home. We don't know who made or distributed them, but we know their effect.
Make yuppies scared of the downtown east side again. This was stuck on our building call box on Thursday.
In the downtown east side, Paul Johnson, Global News.
New travel rules and the confusion they're causing. Growing complaints, growing frustration about the changing requirements. Up next.
I'm NCIS Hawaii's first female SAC. When anyone on my team is in trouble, I'm the first call.
Nick Canaan was born with cystic fibrosis. An infection in 2019 destroyed his lung function. For Nick, time was slipping away. VGH was his only hope.
Nick received probably the most advanced care you can get for respiratory failure on the planet today. When he arrived, he was an extremis. His lungs were failing.
I was listed for a lung transplant, and only 3.5 weeks later, I actually found a suitable match and was called to undergo the lung transplant. Recovery after the transplant was one of the, if not the most challenging parts of this journey. I'm extremely grateful for my life today. If it wasn't for the angels at VGH from the various departments within the hospital, I have no doubt in my mind I would not be here today. And had I survived, I wouldn't be as fit and as healthy as I am right now.
Please make your donation to VGH and UBC Hospital Foundation today.
Dust on the floor can become airborne. Grab it with Swiffer Sweeper. The extra thick, heavy-duty cloths trap all kinds of dust, dirt, and hair on contact. See you, dust! And Swiffer partners with the American Lung Association to support clean air.
Stop the cold surprises with the tankless water system from Milani today. Get continuous hot water whenever you need it. Call Milani today for a free estimate. 604-888-8888.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you in part by Shaw Business, encouraging you to support local this holiday season. We connect you because you connect us. Shaw Business.
Frustration is growing tonight over Canada's new pandemic travel rules. The measures are meant to slow the spread of the new and potentially more transmissible variant, but they're also causing chaos for some Canadians arriving home, even after short trips out of the country.
Passengers arrive at Pearson International Airport unsure what to expect.
I'm kind of confused because there's a lot of things that you have to do.
Since the discovery of the ominous Omicron variant, Canada has introduced a flurry of new travel restrictions. The government just released these flowcharts outlining how the rules apply differently depending on the country and how long you're away. Rules even Canada's top doctor admitted are confusing.
Basically, the requirement, if you're from, it's quite complicated. I think we're going to have to put up some tools on the website.
But not everyone is laughing.
This whole thing has been a roller coaster.
Two of Sue Goddard's daughters traveled to South Africa in November for a field hockey championship. But after Omicron, the event was cancelled, and the team booked a trip home through Germany. Canadians arriving from Southern Africa are required to produce one negative COVID test before leaving and another in a third country en route. But because the team wasn't clearing customs in Germany, they were told their test wouldn't count, and they weren't allowed to travel on to Canada.
Mental health-wise for the team, I'm gonna be honest, it's been quite tough. Yeah.
After 2 weeks stranded in South Africa, lobbying the government, the team just received an exemption and will be allowed to return to Canada next week.
Oh my God, we can't wait to see you.
But others aren't so lucky.
So we were totally blindsided.
This Alberta couple took a quick trip to the United States. Canada does not require a negative test from travelers to the U.S. for less than 72 hours, but they're still required to upload their vaccine certificates to the ArriveCAN website or smartphone app.
And we didn't have that.
We didn't know what it was.
We didn't know what it was.
As a result, even though they've been triple vaxxed, they're now forced to quarantine for 2 weeks.
The communication that has not been very clear, that's one thing, and also inconsistent.
This business tourism expert expects the result will be another blow for the beleaguered travel industry. Not because fully vaccinated Canadians are afraid of getting sick, but because they're afraid of becoming stranded abroad. Jeff Semple, Global News, Toronto.
Up next, a retired queen destined for the scrap heap, but people on Vancouver Island say not here. The concerns over an old BC ferry just ahead.
This snow report is brought to you by Grouse Mountain. Visit us at grousemountain.com.
As a repairman, I hear a lot of folks say they feel like they have to rinse off dirty dishes like these before loading them into the dishwasher.
The Cascade Platinum changes all that. Cascade Platinum, with 50% more cleaning power. It dissolves fast to start cleaning sooner, releasing the soaking power of Dawn. Then, Cascade's food-seeking enzymes latch on and break down food into particles so small they can flow right down the drain. And it's powerful enough for the quick wash cycle. Cascade Platinum, with 50% more cleaning power. Cascade, the #1 recommended brand.
Hi, Dad. It's so good to see you. You too. Hey, Will. Oh, wait, I haven't gotten
Even after you sanitize, every touch can leave new bacteria behind. Microban 24 keeps killing 99.9% of bacteria touch after touch for up to 24 hours. Use the sanitizer 4 out of 5 doctors would use in their own homes. Microban 24.
Picture this, winters down south. Yes! As long as we can rent out the basement. What about the cycling trip? You're burning through our nest egg. We're good. I got us the longevity fund.
Get retirement income for life with the Longevity Pension Fund.
You try to stay ahead of the mess, but scrubbing still takes time. Now there's Dawn Power Wash Dish Spray. It's the faster way to clean as you go. Just spray, wipe, and rinse. It cleans grease 5 times faster. Dawn Power Wash. Spray, wipe, rinse.
You rubber ready for winter? Get big savings now at Big O Tires on BF Goodrich winter tires like the BF Goodrich Winter TA. Plus, visit GoBigO.ca, crack the code, and win $100,000.
BF Goodrich and Big O Tires, we're big on winter.
Big O Tires.
House of Knives, never a dull tool.
You shouldn't have to pay a premium for your family's safety. That's why at Merton, we sell tires at cost. Plus, free flat repairs and lifetime tire rotations when you purchase and install your tires at any Merton dealership in Chilliwack.
I've dreamed of so many nights since it's aired, like this is made for me.
A former BC ferry is making waves off Vancouver Island, where locals are concerned the ship may be pulled apart in an environmentally sensitive area. The Queen of Burnaby arrived in the Comox Valley this week and is currently moored in Union Bay. The vessel has been up for sale since it was decommissioned and retired from the ferry fleet in 2017. BC Ferries says the ship is being temporarily stored south of Courtenay until it can be sold. Residents say a longtime log sort in the area was recently replaced by a marine salvage operation, where several barges have been broken down.
And here we have this large industrial operation going on that, in our view, is not very friendly to the environment and public safety, and we're wanting some answers.
Those oyster leases that are out there, I mean, those guys are walking a razor's edge all the time with, if anything goes wrong, they have huge amounts of dead loss. You add this type of heavy industry into the area and something bad will happen, I think.
A manager at the Union Bay Industries site declined to appear on camera. BC Ferries says it is evaluating proposals to recycle the Queen of Burnaby with companies that follow all safety and environmental procedures and legislation, and hopes to have a deal soon.
Good evening. A few clouds overnight, chilly with the wind chill feeling closer to -6. We've got a mainly sunny sky, a bright start to the morning, and then an increase in cloud cover through the afternoon. Moisture is going to pick up once again, but it'll be late in the evening overnight, and there is the potential to see snow across the south coast. So a nice break will be through the day on Sunday, but then in behind it, as we get in towards the evening hours and affecting our Monday morning commute, we do have the potential for some snowfall. We can see it start to pick up with that increase in cloud cover, but the bulk of the moisture will fall late evening overnight and into Monday. The snowfall that we could potentially see with the special weather statement with 2 and up to 5 centimeters for most areas across Metro Vancouver, but all areas in yellow, the potential's there. We could see anywhere between 2 and a few spots locally, especially for higher elevations, could see up to 10 centimeters, so stay tuned. Now, the northern half of the province along the coast will have an increase in cloud cover. Much of the central and southern interior, it's brightening up through the day. Increase in cloud cover will be towards the evening. Great start to the morning along the south coast, but the potential for some snowfall late Sunday overnight to Monday. Wet snow for many areas. It is going to be a chilly start for Sunday morning. Wind chill feeling closer to -6.
All right, Yvonne, thank you. After a 5-game road trip, the Canucks were back at Rogers Arena to begin a 6-game homestand. So how'd they do against the Penguins? Barry DeLay has sports up next.
Larson. Penalty's over. Long wrist shot deflected.
This program is brought to you by the Canadian Mental Health Association's Bounce Back program. Reclaim your health.